forward this. All right, so Neil had a dental procedure this morning and can't talk. So, fortunately, you're going to have to deal with me for the next 35 minutes or so. So, apologize in advance on that. He wanted to be here, but, you know, Debbie sent us out an email saying, yeah, no, that's not happening. So we'll make it through. Anyways, in the chat box, I'll post it again, the PDF for the 6-month business plan that we put together. So it's essentially just a modified version of the business plan we talk about at the beginning of the year with a couple slight things changed in there. But look, here's the deal. And I want to give a little credit to Armin on this, because Armin asked last week, you know, if we had a editable 6-month business plan. And so we kind of ran with that idea and created this, and now we're putting together this class to do that. So I said Neil's not here and 3 people left. It's funny. That's funny. Oh, well. So we put together this business plan. Today is the first day of the second half. Now, the first half, can we all agree, was a little odd? It was kind of an odd first half. You know, we start the year and there's Kobe, and we thought that was going to be, you know, the big thing of the year. And then there was a virus. And then there were protests, and there was a couple earthquakes mixed in just for fun, you know, things along those lines. We have all kinds of fun political things going on. I mean, it's been quite I saw something today. Someone had posted, and it was a scoreboard, and it said 2020 42 and Earth 0. So 2020 is beating Earth 42-0 right now. Okay, so you know, part of the gig. So it's been an interesting first 6 months of the year, and it's probably going to be an interesting last 6 months of the year. But I think for the most part, we've kind of got a grip on this, right? It is what it is. Okay, so we kind of got a grip on this. So I wanted to share a couple things with you, though, as we get started, just to kind of give you a little bit of mindset here. So the first thing that I want to share, okay, you've seen these numbers before, but I want to just do a little bit of a recap with you to show you just how well you've done. So we pulled these numbers, and this was as of the last week in June, okay? Just shows what we've done as a company compared to other companies. So in a 60-day period, you all took 214 listings. Right here in the mix of COVID, politics, protests, you took 214 listings. That is a staggering, pendings, 214 pendings. That's a staggering number, especially when you look at your competition. 30, 73, 68, 91, 108, 109, 198, 56. Crushing the competition. That's your listing pendings, right? 38. EXP had 397, but they also, if you come over here to agent count, they have 1,251 agents. We have 194. So if you multiply our number by 6, we're looking at 1,200 plus versus their 397. Just crushing them, okay? This is the buyer side sales. Boy, I tell you, when we say we're a listing company, 214 listing pendings, 99 buyer pendings. Now, what's amazing is you're still crushing pretty much everyone on the buyer side too. But pretty amazing stuff. So total 313 pendings in the last 60 days. That's incredible. I mean, you look at these people are competition nowhere. The only one that's close here, Seven Gables, 366, but they have 423 agents, over double what our agents are. I mean, you all, so I wanted to start with a little, first of all, congratulations, because you all have been crushing it, flat out crushing it compared to the competition. Are we down as a whole year over year? Yeah, that's bound to happen. But compared to what your competition is doing, I just pointed at my screen as if you could see me point. Just imagine I just did that, okay? You're crushing them. So good job. Keep up the great work. Total listings, 171 listings. Look at these other companies, 52 out of 421 agents, 42 out of 319, 88, 62, 112. I mean, just staggering what you're doing compared to the competition. So I wanted to, two things. One, I wanted to show you this, that A, congratulations, you're doing an amazing job, and what you're doing is working. What you're doing is working, so don't stop doing that, okay? For those of you that haven't quite gotten on board yet, that haven't quite made that jump to being on the 8:30 role play, to being in all the sales meetings, to watching all the videos, for those of you that haven't quite jumped on yet, this is what's happening. This is what we're doing, okay? So I wanted it for that reason. The other reason I wanted to show you this is, as a company, to Neil's credit, to Cindy's credit, to Diane's credit, and Brett's credit, and our admin's credit, transaction coordinators, escrow officers, we're doing whatever we can to help. You're doing the hard stuff, but we're doing whatever we can to help. And if you go somewhere else, this is what you're going to end up with. You're in the right place. You're around the right people. So I wanted to start by just going over the last 60 days to show you what we've done as a company and really what you've done. It's truly remarkable, really is. So I want to thank you for all the hard work you've done, for adjusting as quickly as you did, for bearing with us as we're going this new virtual way. Thank you for that. Thank you for keeping us employed, for keeping us open. Thank you for all that wonderful stuff that you're doing. And I want you to just know it works and to keep going, because we're going to keep going. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing. So good job on that. So I wanted to share that with you as a way to kind of kick this off, kind of a recap a little bit. Now, the next thing I wanted to share with you, I shared this the other day, but just as a good positive way to start the second half, this came out, record surge in pending sales. So this is from the NAR, National Association of Realtors, and I want to highlight this section right here. Essentially, in May, nationally, in May, pendings were up 44.3% compared to April. So from April to May, pendings went up 44.3%. Look at this. The greatest single month increase since NAR started tracking pending sales in 2001. Greatest single month increase. So what that means is I just showed you all the numbers of all the things that are going on, and we're just getting started. The best is yet to come, because this virus hit the first half and it really slowed things down the first few months, but it's starting to go. So that should get you even more excited. For those of you that have been crushing it, you should be more excited. For those of you that, again, haven't quite got going yet, you should start getting excited, because this is happening. But this also shows you, from a mindset perspective, you can't use the line, well, nobody's doing anything. If everyone in your list is nobody's doing business, get a new list or work on a new script, because the business is out there. Things are happening. So it's just a great way mindset to get going into the second half. It's going to start moving. It's going to start moving. Okay. And then the next thing that I wanted to show you, okay, is make sure you're checking out InfoSparks. Right? We've talked about this ad nauseum, but we're getting deals using InfoSparks. If you're not familiar with InfoSparks and you're not using it yet, get on it. But here's just what I want to show you. Average sales price, down here in the bottom right, average sales price. Now, this is the entire MLS. The average sales price is up from this time last year, up 4.7%. Now, this might change because it's only July 1st, so it might take a few days before they get all of June numbers. But just to give you an idea, up 4.7% average sales price. Now, if I go over here to the left, bottom left, days on market, average days on market's down 2.5%. That's the entire MLS. In some of our offices, it's crazy. It's even far better. So for example, you go to Arcadia. If I type in Arcadia over here, average days on market in Arcadia is down 40%. Average sales price up 9.5%. So we are a listing company, and right now for sellers, what a great opportunity. What do sellers want? The two biggest things. They want the most money in the least amount of time. Well, right now, based on InfoSparks, I can get you more money in less time. That's the conversation piece. Get this out there. Get this information to your seller leads. Get this to people that are interested in doing something. Because that creates an opportunity for you. You get paid faster right now than you did. 40% faster. Who would like to get paid faster? Okay, right? If we were in like a meeting, I would say, look to your neighbor and say, I want to get paid faster. So just do your Zoom one. I want to get paid faster. Now you got a chance. Days on market's down 40%. But this also means from your buyer perspective, you need to still show them this, because buyers who want to say, well, I'm thinking about waiting for prices to go down. Let me ask you a question. If prices were going to go down, wouldn't they have already done that? Wouldn't they have already done that in the middle of the pandemic, when more people were out of work, when it was harder to show properties, when we weren't really sure what the rules were? Wouldn't that have driven prices down? Instead, they went up. Now more people are going back to work, which means they have more money. We've now got a grip on showing property, which means listings could get easier showings, more showings. Why would that drive prices down? Gone up. Days on market are down 40%. How can prices go down if days on market's down 40%? This is conversation pieces to have with your buyers, right? Exciting stuff. Exciting, really, really cool things going on, okay? But this also means, I want you to note this, for the second half, because of these numbers and because of what's going on, if they're not motivated, move on. There's a 4-letter word that's going to save your life the second half of the year, and it's not the 4-letter word that some of you had just pop up in your head. Let's be honest. You had a different 4-letter word. The 4-letter word I'm talking about is next. 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 If they're not motivated to buy or sell right now, doesn't matter how good your objection handling is, how good your presentation is, they're not going to do it. There's too many barriers in the way. Use the market to sell them. Use the market to get them motivated to sell. If they're motivated to sell, use the market to sell now. Your job is to convince them that you're the right agent. Your job is not to convince them to buy or sell. If they're not motivated, they're not buying or selling. You could show them the market stats. If a seller looks at that and says, I can get more money in less time, nah, I'm good, they're not motivated. Your job is not to motivate them. Your job is simply to show them why they should list or buy with you. But this is all exciting stuff. I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty excited. This is exciting stuff. This is exciting stuff. Okay, and then the next thing, the last thing I want to show you before we actually get into the business plan, right here, okay? This is what we're doing. This is what we've done. This is what we're doing as a company that's helping you make more money that you're not going to get anywhere else. Okay? Yes, there's an 8% franchise fee. Yes, there's, not 100% commission, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you pay E&O monthly. This is what we're doing that's making you more money. Now, some of you are doing all this, some of you are doing some of it, but I just wanted to share with you a couple of ideas that's working to get in on this for the second half. So I wrote this down here. Scripts and objection handlers that you won't get anywhere else that are making you money. Okay, we've identified vacant properties with 30% of pendings and created a for rent by owner script. How many of you outside of that 30 minutes, 8:30 in the morning, are actually working on the for rent by owner script? And then how many of you are actually calling for rent by owners? Other than Frank Garcia, because Frank Garcia is just blasting through for rent by owners right now. And he's got some really good leads. And I know some of you have done really well on that. Yulin's done well on that. Nancy Zalata, I know, has done a few deals with for rent by owners. Stuff works. How often are you working it? 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condos. They sell twice as fast as single-family residents. We create a script for that. Are you hitting the condos? Are you using the script? Okay. 2-story homes bought 25 or more years ago. We created a script for that. Are you hitting up that market? People that are 65, 70, 80, they don't want to go up and down stairs anymore. And the home's probably paid off unless they've refinanced a bunch of times. You work in that market? All the COVID scripts for buyers, sellers, database. We practice those every morning. Outside of that 8:30 time slot, when we post the script and you're reading, are you practicing it? Are you using them? Some of you are, and it's amazing. Got to get more of you on board with that. At no point, we're months into this. If a client says, how's the coronavirus affecting the real estate market, you should know how to answer. Created commission objection handler scripts. We go over that all the time. Created commission objection handlers for the coronavirus. We've been working on one with how much do you charge? Melinda had that just the other day on a listing appointment. Tessa's used that. All you have to do is pay me 2.78%. We just have to decide what you want to pay the buyer's agent. We talked about a plan of action. We came up with 33 points for a plan of action. Are you using a 33-point plan of action? Are you using any plan of action? We create 33 points, okay? We create objection handlers for we think prices are going to go down. We've created a database text I sent out to a bunch of you. I said, send this text out using InfoSparks. Some of you did that and got leads and business out of it. Some of you, I said, have you done that yet? No, come on. We've been working on the box-in objection handler. We created script for old buyer leads that it's a cheaper payment today than a year ago. Created script for the buyer-broker agreement. We got it. Everything's at your disposal. Everything's at your disposal. How much of this are you using? That's the question I want you to think about. How much of all this stuff are you actually implementing in your business at a high level? Some of you are, and it's just crazy. And some of you are fighting. I'm not quite sure why. You're fighting. You're like, no, you're fighting. Stop fighting. The ones that are fighting seems to be the ones that are struggling. Stop struggling, okay? Stop struggling. All right, training and coaching. All right, you still get your one-on-one coaching. We got role play 5 days a week. We're doing 5 sales meetings a week. We have 18 hours of training classes, 2 top agent interviews per week. How much are you engaging in that? Now, this is one of those things where you're really just preaching to the choir because pretty much everyone on this call engages in that. So tell your buddies that you know aren't here, hey, you should come check out some of this stuff because we're doing it. And then Century 21, next Wednesday, we're actually having Bob Nelson come back on. We're going to do an action workshop. He's going to help you set up. You're going to actually set up your website for free. Got Golden Ruler, virtual tours, got all this stuff. How much of this stuff are you implementing? That's the question. That's the big question. But it's there. It's there. And we're just going to keep going. You're not getting this anywhere else. No other offices constantly coming up with these things. No way, no how. Not happening. And we're just getting started every day. Every day we're thinking of new fun things. Isn't that exciting? Every day Neil's calling. What do we do to get him another deal? What do we do to get them another deal? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? We're always coming up with stuff, losing sleep over coming up with stuff. That's not true. I lose sleep over all kinds of things. It's nothing. But it's true. We do this, right? You get a motivational message, 7 a.m. every morning. All right, let's go. We're nonstop, baby. We are nonstop. And that's why we are kicking the competition's butt. Working on my language. I was going to say something else. It's okay. It's okay. All right, good stuff. Okay, so again, I'm going to post in the chat box the business plan. If you don't already have it already, because we're going to go through that right now. I'm going to post in the chat box again the 6-month business plan. Okay? We're going to go through that. We are going to go through that. Cool. All right, so let's pull this up. So it's in the chat box. Hopefully you have it. Now, some of you asked, how come you didn't send this to us beforehand? Here's one thing I've learned as a speaker. If I send you something beforehand, you won't attend. It's what I know. It's what I know. If we had blasted this out, you wouldn't be here. And we kind of want you to hear. We kind of want you to be a part of the group, right? Kumbaya, family style, right? So we wanted to do that. I used to do that as a speaker. I learned this, where I would hand out the material before I did the talk, right? Well, what happened is that people would scan through the material, and then before I even started talking, they had already made up their mind on what they wanted to hear or if they wanted to hear anything. And it's like, well, my talk was ruined. So that's why we do these things. There's a method. It's a method to all this stuff, okay? The method to all this stuff. All right, so let's pull up the business plan. Let's do that. Let's make this happen. Let's go through this. All right. First of all, any questions on anything we had gone over to start? Numbers or anything along those lines? Don't see anything in the chat box. It's in there. I'll post it again. If you can, maybe if you can't see it in the chat box, maybe post your email. And if somebody wants to be a real friend of mine, maybe they can forward that email to them so I don't take time away from doing that. But it's just posted again. But a couple of you have either sent something to me privately or whatnot. Okay, cool. Well, some of the problem is too, is that if you hop on, you can't see all the previous comments. So that's the thing too. So even if it was posted before, that's another issue. What are you gonna do? Okay, so let's go through this. All right, so here's page 1, right? Business goals for the second half of 2020. So I want you to take this seriously in terms of what are your goals for the second half of 2020? Okay. Ryan, I see Ryan's email on there. If someone could do me a favor and forward that to Ryan, that would be great. And anyone else that doesn't see it, put your email in there. There's a big kudos out to anyone that wants to do that. That'd be great. Thanks, Matt. Okay. Second half of 2020. Look at your calendar and figure out how many days are you going to work. Be honest. Well, there's 6 months. There's, all these weeks. I'm going to work 5 days a week. You're not. Okay? Because you're going to go, you might take time off for holidays. You might be planning vacations. I don't know where you're going to go. Someday, many years from now, we'll be able to travel again. But until then, but be honest, how many days are you going to work? Are you planning on working? Okay, figure that out. How many days that you're going to work? And then how many hours are you going to prospect? So again, be honest with yourself. Now, here's what I mean by be honest. Some of you will put 3 hours a day. So you're going to say, I'm going to work 100 days and I'm going to prospect 3 hours a day. So that's 300 hours prospected. And some of you will do that. But some of you, if we're being honest, don't prospect 3 hours a day. And that's okay. It's nothing wrong. This is not a criticism, but if this is more of a be honest. How much are you going to prospect? Okay. Total contacts. Right now, see, I want you to adjust this though. Don't just use the standard 10 contacts an hour. How many contacts are you making an hour? Albert, is Albert around?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm meeting, sir.
Albert, how many contacts have you been making an hour the last week, roughly?
On average around 18, but I'm using the triple dialer.
All right.
And, but then again, this doesn't last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Sure. So, but my point is, and I used Albert as an example here because he's been just crushing it on contacts and really doing a lot of really cool things. And he's been making a lot of contacts. So I wanted to get an idea of what he'd been doing because there are more people working from home right now. And do you think that that's going to continue? Probably, right? People are probably going to continue working from home. There's a lot of companies out there that definitely for the rest of the year are going to have people working from home. And there's some companies out there that have just said going forward, all employees are going to have the option to work from home forever, at least for the time being. So the point of that is you need to adjust what your total contacts per hour should be. You should be making more. Whether you're using a triple line dialer, a one line dialer, hand dialing, you should be making more contacts per hour now than you have in years past. So adjust the numbers accordingly. Don't just use your standard numbers. Properties previewed virtually. Okay. Now I know we used to talk about previewing 5 properties a day. You should definitely be able to preview 5 properties a day virtually. Okay, that shouldn't be that hard of a task. I would say maybe 8 to 10 preview properties, but put your number in there. Now, expired, visited at the door, okay? We didn't adjust that, but how many expires do you plan on contacting? Because we don't know when door knocking's coming back. So just imagine how many expired you're going to contact a day. How many for rent by owners are you going to go after? Okay. How many for sale by owners are you going to try to contact over the next 6 months? But be honest here, because some of you don't go after for sale by owners. This is not one of those things where it's like, hey, make sure you're doing this. No, some of you don't go after for sale by owners, and that's fine. Some of you don't go after expireds, and that's fine too. But 0. This is just ideas. Okay. How many appointments do you want to set for listings? How many listing appointments do you want to set? Anybody want to share a number? Anyone want to share what their goal is for appointments set for the next 6 months? Put it in the chat box where you can unmute yourself. Okay. How many appointments do you want to go on? So you should also know after the first 6 months what your ratio is on cancellations. Some of your cancellations are higher. Some of them are lower. Know what your cancellation rate is. Listings taken. How many listings do you want to take? How many listings do you want to sell? Again, anyone that wants to share any of their goals, either put it in the chat box or unmute yourself. I'd love to hear what some of you are thinking. Okay. Buyer appointments. How many buyer appointments do you want to set? How many buyer sales do you want? Okay. Practice hours. It is my belief, and Neil was talking about this recently too, you should be practicing an hour a day, at least. You get 30 minutes free, essentially, at 8:30. You know, you kind of get that 30 minutes. You should be able to practice a listing presentation, scripts, objection handlers, at least an hour a day. Most of the people that we've interviewed are doing at least an hour a day. Here's what I want you to think about before you put in your practice hours. I want you to think about this. Are there going to be more agents slowly getting back into this over the next couple months? Probably, right? And would you say those agents are going to be more desperate to get a deal? Right? Because there are a number of agents that haven't received a paycheck yet. And that could be either because they've actually had some real stuff going on and they couldn't work, and some of it's just because they just decided not to work. But either way, when people get desperate, they'll take a deal for $50. So you better get good on your skills. Commission objection handling, prices, Well, this agent said they're going to give me a kickback. This agent said they'll paint my house. This agent said this. And if you are caught in that and you go, it's a wrap. Okay. Total hours worked. Be honest. Now, here's the thing. If you're putting like 12 or 14 hours a day, chances are we have a time management problem. If we're just being honest here. Okay. Open houses, virtual open houses or real open houses. Okay. Now, right now you can't do real open houses, even though some of you are, but we'll keep that hush hush. Virtual open houses. And then how much do you want to close? Total closed. How much commission do you want to earn? And then what's your gross? Again, anyone that wants to share their goals, I think it'd be neat, either in the chat box or unmute yourself. I think it'd be cool. What are your goals for the next 6 months? Current pendings? What do you have pending right now? Tim Gallego says he said earlier has 5 listings because he's a freaking rock star, man. Some of you have some really cool numbers right now. Some of you have some really cool stuff. So very neat. Stephanie Chang's got 3 in escrow. Talked to her yesterday. You know, people working, man, doing cool things, cool things. And then you go down here, scripts I will learn. So here would be a really interesting question. We asked this at the beginning of the year, scripts you will learn, and most of you who filled one of these out put 3 scripts you wanted to learn. It'd be interesting to know if you learned those scripts. But what scripts are you going to learn the next 6 months? Here's my suggestion on scripts you will learn. Put something you haven't put before. And there's a variety of scripts. Could be a COVID script, could be an objection handler script, could be a listing presentation, but put something you haven't put before. And here's why I say that is because, and I'm just as guilty of this. This is everybody at some capacity is guilty of this. You've put things in there before and then you don't learn them. So let's just stop putting them in there for now. Put new scripts in there. And then books you will read. Armin said yesterday he's on pace to read 40 books this year. That's awesome. 40 books. Some of you are like, I haven't read 40 books ever. Some of you are like, even when I had to do book reports in school, I just got the Cliff Notes, like, you know, or watch the movie. Who did that? Whoever had to do a book report and then just watch the movie. I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm not the only one. I actually remember the book was The Hunt for Red October. I did a book report on The Hunt for Red October. There's a movie with Denzel and Gene. A great movie. I watched that movie and prayed to God the book was something similar. Okay? So books you will read, right? So this is the plan. This is the plan for the next 6 months. So take it seriously. Zig Ziglar, I start with this. Zig Ziglar says, how can a man hit a target he cannot see? How can you hit a target you do not have? Gotta have goals. If nothing else, the biggest question from a coaching perspective, the biggest question I've gotten over the last few months since coronavirus, COVID, whatever you want to call it, the biggest question I've gotten is, Robert, how do I stay motivated to go to work? That is the biggest question I've gotten over the last few months. And I say, and there's a variety of different things we talk about, but one of the constant things is, what are your goals? If you don't have a grip on your goal, if you don't have a grip on what you want to accomplish, you will not get up and do this work. It will not happen. It's not that exciting. It's not exciting to role play scripts. It's not exciting to get rejected over and over again. It's not exciting to be on a dialer dialing through. It's not exciting submitting offers against multiple offers. That's not exciting. Okay, you're not professional athletes. You're not professional museums. Being a rock star sounds exciting. That would be exciting. But the best you can do is be a rock star real estate agent. And what you need for that is you need to have goals. You need to have a plan. Okay, so make sure you fill that out. So then we scroll through, okay? Master's Advantage Program. Master's Advantage Program. Okay, we've talked about this multiple times. Now, we've actually updated this to more COVID that we're going to be sending out here in the next day or so. It's a slight changed, altered was the word I was looking for, Master's Advantage Program for COVID for the next 6 months. So we're going to send that out here in the next day or two. Then we scroll down through here. What are your goals? Now, we do this at the beginning of the year, but when Neil and I were talking about putting together this plan, we said we need to have these pages in here because they need to be reminded of what their goals are. Things I'd like to have, things I'd like to do, places I'd like to go, things I would like to change in my life. Even if it's the same as the beginning of the year, write them again. Remind yourself again and again and again what your goals are. Or maybe some of you, what's really neat, some of you have accomplished some of your goals, which is so awesome. I can't tell you how excited I get when somebody says, oh, my goal was to buy a rental property, and I got it. We just closed escrow. Or my goal was to buy a house for myself, and we just opened escrow. My goal was to do X, 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 and X, right? My goal was to pay off $40,000 in debt, and I did it. I get excited about that stuff. So for those of you that don't share those things, please share those with me. Even if I'm not coaching you, I get excited about those kind of things, man. But write down things you'd like to have, things you'd like to do, places you'd like to go. Here'd be a thought. When this is all over, and I'm going to stay optimistic that at some point we're going to be able to travel internationally again. It's got to be true. Okay? Where would you go? You've been busting your butt. I was going to say it again. You've been busting your butt through this COVID. You've made some money. Maybe you've saved some because you haven't been traveling. You haven't been doing too much driving. So you've been saving on gas. You save up some of this money. Bam. Where are you going to go? What's the exciting part of that, right? You got to remind yourself. You have to remind yourself of what you're doing this for. Greg Harrelson says, I always knew what I was exchanging my money for. It's not about the money. The money itself in the bank won't motivate you for the most part. It won't. And some of you will go, yeah, it will. No, it won't. We go through this all the time. What will motivate you is, what's the money in the bank going to? What are you exchanging it for? What's the exchange rate for the money in the bank? That is what will get you going. Things you'd like to change in your life. Whatever that may be. It could be personal, it could be business. This doesn't have to be business. Remember, you can't separate personal and business. So make these personal goals as much as professional goals. Can't separate the two. If you can't be totally focused professionally and be a total train wreck personally and have it all work out. Doesn't work that way. Just doesn't. I have all kinds of business goals. What's your personal goals? Who the hell knows? Just trying to figure out what's for dinner. Not going to work. So you gotta combine the two. I tell this joke all the time, right? When my first real sales job, I was 20 years old. I go and my boss says, Robert, what happens in this office doesn't affect anything out there. And what happens out there doesn't come in here. And I said, this is amazing. So if I don't make any money in here, my wife can't get mad at me out there. This is so cool. Honey, I know we don't have any money, but you can't get mad at me. That's an in there problem. What a concept. Doesn't work. Any of your spouses, would that work? No, any of that? No, yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, no. Albert's like, no, wife's not going for that, dude. In Albert's case, it wouldn't be the wife or the daughter. Daughter would be like, no way, dude. Sorry. All right, and then the last 2 pages here. You must get clarity about where you are in life in the following areas. I think this page is really important because of everything that's going on. I think because of the virus, because of protests, because of the elections, because of everything that's going on, I think this page is really important. What are the top 5 things you've learned in the first half of 2020? I hope that you've learned at least 5 things. Because we've been doing like 18 hours of training a week for months. If you have not learned 5 things in the first half of the year, then I am so bad at my job. And Neil is awful at his job, and Cindy is awful at her job, and Diane and Brett and Jesse. If you haven't learned 5 things of all the training and coaching, you're either not paying attention or we are terrible. And I'm going to assume we're not terrible. Okay? At least, okay, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. But at least Neil and Cindy aren't terrible. So you at least 5 things from them. Okay? What accomplishment are you most proud of in the first half of 2020? Be honest. Don't be so negative. Because some of you are going to put nothing. I don't know what a loser mentality that is. Some of you have done really cool things. Maybe you haven't hit your production goal, but you got better at something. Could be something as simple as I finally cleaned up my database. I finally picked a CRM. I finally got that script down. I finally removed some negative people from my life. I finally decided to not be a part-time agent and really take my job seriously. It could be something like that. It doesn't have to be just production. Diane says this all the time. You have to acknowledge your wins, every little win that you get. What accomplishment are you most proud of? What action did you take or fail to take that you were least proud of in the first half? Be honest. For some of you, it was the failure to take action. You got paralyzed by the virus and you didn't take action. That's what you should be least proud of. Some of you did take action, but maybe you didn't learn something the way you're supposed to. Maybe there was a certain deal you weren't pushing enough. What are you least proud of? What do you want to duplicate in the second half of 2020 that you did in the first half? I could tell you one thing. I'll tell you what I want to. I'll tell you what I want to duplicate. I want to duplicate this beating right here. I want to duplicate the beating that you all just put on these other offices. That's mine. That's from a company standpoint. I want to duplicate this just total beatdown. That's me. Just in case anyone was curious. Just wanted to share with you what my thing is. What were your biggest challenges in the first half of 2020? Don't just put COVID and then go to the next one. Like, what specifically? Because here's the thing. If your biggest challenge was COVID, we're still in COVID. Like, what else? COVID. Thank you. Great. Come on, do better. What do you believe will be your biggest challenge in the second half of 2020? COVID. Okay, great. No, it's not COVID. If you put COVID to believe your biggest challenge in the second half, I just want you to cross that out and say me. Not me, like Robert Hertel. Actually put you, M-E, right? Yourself. Oh, COVID will be my biggest challenge. No, sorry. Can't use that anymore. There's business out there. There's people on track to make the most money they've ever made in their entire lives. Nope. Can't use that. You got to come up with something better. Got to come up with something better. What do you not want to repeat in the second half of 2020? Okay. Where are you at? You got to get clarity on this stuff. We got to identify what went right, what went wrong. Otherwise, it's insanity. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay. And then the last one here, what was your recap for the first half of 2020? Okay, so going through the recap of the first half. days worked, hours prospected, contacts. What'd you do the first half? Identify what went right. What went right? I had a list there for a second. Went white, like a Roger Rabbit. What went right? What went wrong? What do we need to change? But fill this out. Definitely send it to your coach. I would even recommend sending it to all of us. Send it to myself. Send it to Neil. Send it to Diane. Even if I don't coach you, I can help you. Just because Neil doesn't coach you, doesn't mean Neil can't help you. Right? Diane, same thing. Brett, same thing. All right? Send it to all of us. Let us help. And I would create some accountability partners. John Maxwell says a goal that is not made public is useless. Send it to some accountability partners or send it to your family. Let your family in on this. Let your family in on this. But create this. Really take this seriously because you have a chance to totally crush it in the second half. You have a chance to crush it in the second half of 2020. As a company, you crushed it the first half. That's what gets me so excited about the second half because there's going to be more business. And you got a chance to really get after it, to really make a difference. You have a chance. This is my mentality. And some of you don't like this mentality because it's a little too intense. But my mentality is this. I want you to put in so much work the second half that all these fake agents that haven't been working, I want it to when they do decide to come back to work, they have no reason to. They have nothing to come back to. They don't have a database because their database is now yours. They don't have any scripts. They have no momentum. They might as well buy some how-to books and pick a different career. That's my mentality. That's what I want for you is to go put these people out of business for good. Some of them are going to be out of business for good on their own will. And some of them are going to try to crawl back in, and I want you to say, no, sorry, no vacancy. This hotel's full. We're social distancing from you. We're social distancing from you from real estate. Sorry, you can be a referral agent if you want. Some of you are going to totally crush it the second half and have the biggest year you've ever had, biggest half you've ever had. And it's going to roll into 2021. At some point, we're going to get back to somewhat normal business, open houses and things like that and door knocking and all that. At some point, it's going to happen. Maybe it doesn't happen this year. Maybe it's not going to be till next year. I don't know. I just know that whenever that day is, there's going to be people crawling back in, and I don't want them to have anything to come back to. And you have an opportunity to do that. You have an opportunity to put a lot of people out of business. And in the meantime, make a lot of money for you and your family. And if you don't have a family, it's just you, then you get to keep all the money. Isn't that cool? You know, some of you are like, yeah, Robert, I don't have any kids. Great, it's all yours. You get to keep it and you can go do whatever you want. It's even better. All right? You got to do it. You got to get after it. You got to get after it. All right. Questions on anything we went over today? All got it? Figured out?
Hey, what about this, Jeffrey?
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, let's say if the first half is not the way that I want to be, so what's the first 3 things that you will recommend the agent to do to improve the second half of the production?
Call every single person in your cell phone, ask them how they've been doing, and give them some update on the real estate market and ask them if they know someone that wants to buy or sell. First thing I do. It's a great question, Jeffrey, and I know that's on a lot of other people's minds. As Neil's wife, Debbie, always says,
it's being honest.
it's not an only child. That's her line. You know, somebody says something like, it's not an only child. Get in touch with the people on your phone. Get in touch with the people on your phone. As a company, most of our business comes from past client centers of influence. Individually, Jeffrey, probably most of your business comes from past client centers of influence. Get on the phone. They have not heard from a real estate agent probably in a long time, if they haven't heard from you, which means we've left them to their own devices, which is not good. Get on the phone with them. How's it going? Checking in to see how you're doing. By the way, give you an update on the market. Who do you know is looking to buy or sell? It's the first thing I do. Get through that list. Somebody in that list is looking to buy or sell. They're just not sure if now's the time. That's the first thing I would do. And then from there, I would get back on as normal of a schedule as you can. Get back on the role play schedule, get back on the listing presentation practice schedule, get back in the virtual office or in the actual office, get back in your accountability groups, get back to the grind.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's out there. It's out there. Share with them whatever. For everybody out there, share. Well, what do I share with them? Share with them the pendings I just gave you. Share with them info sparks. Share with them what's going on, listings, pendings in their individual city. Share with them what you have going on. Share with them the interest rates, anything. But it's got to be exciting. And the one thing that's coming up, okay, we talked about this, right? What's coming up the second half of the year that's gonna mess with people's heads is the election. It's going to mess with people's heads. So they're going to be dealing with viruses. They're going to be dealing with all kinds of other stuff. And then they're going to have the actual election. It is going to be a negative mountain for a lot of people. You have got to be the one that's giving them real good, positive information. Because if we leave them to their own devices, the negative is going to just take over. And then if we leave them to their own devices in real estate, we have no chance because it's all going to be bad. And it's not all bad. You've got to take into consideration what's going on in the world and what's going to happen to people's minds. Good question. Great question. What else? What other questions? Any other questions? No?
I agree with you on the election, Robert. I think it's going to be a really negative time. It's going to be a perfect opportunity for us to get to the forefront.
Yep. I agree, Armin. I agree. It is going to be, it's going to be bad. It's just going to be bad. And I'm not a political person, so I'm not getting into a political topic on, what side of the fence. I'm just talking about in general. It is going to be slander after slander after slander from the candidates, from the parties, from all the just people around you. I hate this person, this person. It's going to be bad. So you have to be the one that's in front of them, pitching something else, getting their mind away from that. Because you can't do anything about it. And the truth is you live in a state where your vote doesn't matter. Get them to focus on stuff that matters. Are you interested in buying or selling? Because now's a great time to do that. Your vote doesn't matter here. Let's focus on something you can control. And be excited, be energetic. Because they're going to need it. They're going to need it. It's a depressing, negative time for a lot of people. And if you just call with negativity, man, it's gonna, or not negativity, but no energy, they need it. Be the light of hope. Be the light of hope for people. Amiables are going to freaking crush it the second half of the year. Amiables are just going to go nuts. Drivers, you're going to have to be versatile. Okay? You're going to have to be versatile. Expressives, it's going to be really hard because you need to let them talk. Not our strength. Okay? Good questions. Good questions. Good comments. Good stuff. What else? What other questions we got? No? All right. Okay, complete this, fill it out, send it in, email it to us, whatever the case may be. Take it seriously. I'm just so damn proud of you and the company for what you've accomplished the first half. That's why I get so excited and so passionate about the second half. Because it excites me to get up every day and be on this Zoom. Because you all are just, it's exciting to work with people that want to work. and you all work and you're crushing it and you're just doing awesome and amazing things. And again, I can't, just at the, like we started at the very beginning, I can't thank you enough, because the truth is, if you're not doing business, I'm not employed. It's a fact. So I thank you for hustling and working and keeping me employed, and for keeping the company moving and keeping everyone else working. And for you individually, you know, some of you have made a great living this first half of the year, and you've set up a good business. So it just excites me every day. So I'm very excited for the second half of the year. And I think we're good. This is just the beginning. The best is yet to come, and we are going to have a phenomenal second half. And it wouldn't be a Century 21 Masters meeting if I didn't remind you that Christmas is coming.
Robert.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
So I know that election is coming, and how do we, I just want to understand, how do we prepare ourselves as an agent, like what you said, making sure that our mindset is good? Is there any suggestions that you have to make sure that, number one, be prepared as an agent, and number two, prepare our clients to offer them something? Because I that's true what you said, that there's going to be a lot of negativity, all right, that would be on our plate. And they're saying that typically on election, market, they say, is going to come down. You know what they say is going to come down. But honestly, I don't really think. But then again, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. We didn't expect COVID. We never knew about the protest. Nobody knows, you know. Next thing we know, we have our phone lines off. You know what I mean? So what do you suggest so far?
It's a great question, Tess. Great question. So first of all, in regards to the market, if you look back at the last 10 elections, it had no effect on the real estate market. Wherever the market was trending prior to the election, that's what happened after the election. Didn't matter if it was Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, didn't make no difference. So the idea that the election affects the market is a myth locally. Now, maybe there's other markets nationally, but locally, I've done this study. Never affects the market in any way. So that's the conversation piece to have with your seller. Well, I want to wait to see what happens with the election. It's not going to make a difference. Historically, won't make a difference. Now, you're right. We didn't predict COVID. We didn't predict X, 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 and X. So anything's possible, but we can only go off of historics. And historically, it makes no difference. So that's that. It doesn't cause a drop in the market or anything along those lines. That's just the way that it's always worked.
Very interesting. What we could probably do is, you know, do a research from that time 4 years ago when we had an election,
Sure.
Where our market was, like what we do on InfoSparks, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
you know, it's a great idea, and I'd be happy to point that out. Armin,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Because that could be great to overcome it with the sellers and buyers, because everyone's going to be very nervous, especially with what's happening with COVID and everything, and that we are better prepared to make them understand how we could explain to them. Right?
Yeah. Armin, you were going to say something?
Well, I kind of like to piggyback on what Tess said. That is a great question. And as far as people asking, it's not to trigger a debate, because that's not what I want to have. But I would like to hear what the group has to say about what they think. Everybody that's on the Zoom right now, what do they feel it is, and what we can do to calm the nerves of a lot of people that will be thinking about selling at that time. Like Tess says, we have to be the calming force in the room, you know. So if we know it's going to happen, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but if we have a better feel of it, like our numbers, like what Neil always says, keeping on the numbers. I found the last 3 months that if I'm on top of the numbers, that tends to make people feel good, especially the analytics, you know, but it's starting to make other people feel good, like the drivers, like, well, maybe I can put my house in the market.
Right.
You know, so I kind of like to know what the group in general thinks about it.
It's a great question. I'm open to anyone that wants to comment on that, on what their plans are, how they're going to keep their clients. calm and things like that. I'll work on the numbers to show that the past elections haven't made any difference. I'll work on that. I'll get that to you in the next week. And I think that would help in terms of that. I'll say this, though, as people are gathering their thoughts, Tess, to the other question on the mindset, this is me individually. Now, everyone's different on this, and some people hate when I say this, and I just actually said it a couple minutes ago. They hate when I say this, but it's the facts. We live in a state where your vote doesn't matter. So there's no reason for me as a Californian to get caught up in all the negativity and crap of the election when my vote makes no difference. So why would I get negative? Why? It doesn't matter, okay? I can't do anything about it. I'm not an influencer to influence people in other states. And I'm not going to influence, and this again, this is not a political thing where I'm on one side of the fence. I actually don't care because my vote doesn't matter. The Democrats going to win California. So I don't care. I don't get caught up in it because I'm not going to influence anyone from another state and my vote doesn't matter, so I don't care. So I don't let it bother me. So that's why when people in California, for example, get all worked up about stuff, it's like, it doesn't matter. Your vote doesn't matter. And in California, you live in a totally different world than Texas and Oklahoma and all these other states where political stuff really makes a difference. California runs differently.
That's why we want them leaving California,
but
selling and going to another state.
There you go. But that's, to me, again, this is my own personal thing. Everyone might be different. That's how it doesn't affect me. It doesn't because it doesn't matter. Somebody told me this years ago and it stuck with me. This was when Obama was running his first term and there was a debate going on amongst people. I was in a group of people and there was a debate on, I forget even who he was running against first time. Doesn't matter. And this guy comes in. This guy is a multimillionaire. And he steps in and he goes, let me end this discussion. All you need to worry about is your personal economy. Now, my personal economy is up. What's yours? And I was like 20 years old. I really shouldn't have even been in the room, but I just somehow got in there, right? And I was just like, that's the greatest statement I've ever heard in my entire life. And I've lived by that ever since. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I don't care. I care about my personal economy, and if that's going up. I don't get caught up in the negativity of this, and this. I'm focused on me. Now, yeah, that just is what it is, because I can't affect anything else. I can't affect the United States economy. Can't affect the global economy. I can't affect anything, really. I mean, I got an ego, but my ego's not that big, for God's sakes. Okay? I can affect me. That's why I don't let the negativity get around me. Because because they listen and they go, oh, this and that and this. And I'm like, my individual economy's up. I don't really care. That's it. That's how I get through this negativity. My vote doesn't matter, and I'm focused on my individual economy. That's me. So they can be negative all they want. Whatever. I don't care. And try not to listen to it. Do your best not to listen to it. I don't get in political conversations. One, because I don't follow politics enough to have a valid opinion. But there's a lot of people that don't follow politics that think they have a valid opinion. Those are the best. I don't get involved with it. What do you think about this? I don't care. What do you think about this? I don't care about that either. When is baseball coming back? Now you have my attention, right? When can I go to the movies again? When can I do that? Now you have my attention. Care about any of that other stuff. That's how you get around it. Stay off Twitter. Stay off, if you're doing social media stuff, just follow certain people because God, it's just vile stuff on there. It's vile stuff on there. That's just all total nonsense. That's how you get away from it. So to your clients, The same. This is what I'm telling you. Maybe that's what you tell your clients to keep them calm. Oh, what about the election? You plan on leaving California? No, then it doesn't matter. And you're going to get people, well, depends on who wins. Depends on whether or not I'm going to stay. Really? Is that so? Okay. Not going anywhere. Good stuff. Melinda says if they want to leave, I can help. There you go. There you go. But that's just my 2 cents on it. That's my 2 cents on it. That's how I get through it. It's a great question. It's a great question. Anyone else want to share on that? Either how they're going to keep their clients calm or how they keep themselves calm without turning this into a political discussion? No, we're good. Well, look, think about it. Because Armin brings up a great question. Tess brings up a great question. You better have a plan because it's easy to get sucked into that stuff. Easy to get sucked into that stuff. And if you do, the reference I made the other day, it's like getting in a mosh pit. Some of you have never been to a rock concert where there's mosh pits. You know, it's a bunch of people like that, you know. And it's hard to get out of it without getting beat up. That's what happens. Okay. All right, everybody. I've taken up enough of your day. Good stuff. Fill out that plan. Take it seriously. For some of you, this is going to be a totally, maybe life-changing, maybe business-changing, but it's going to be a pivotal moment in some of your careers. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. And let us know how we can help. I mean, we're obviously willing to help. Let us know if we can help. If you need more coaching, we'll give you more coaching. You need more one-on-one stuff, we'll do more one-on-one stuff. I mean, I do this all the time, and let us know. If you want less, you know, we'll do less. Okay, whatever. Let us know we can help. Let us know we can help. All right, good stuff. Okay, last thing, because it is Ultimate Prospecting Day, we need people for the second half of the day. So who wants to be on open mic for the rest of the day? Help me out here. Don't make me beg, please. All right. Who wants to be at 1:30? Please. Come on. Don't make me beg. God damn it. You're just going to make me do it. Come on. Come on. Who wants to be on open mic at 1:30? Somebody.
You can put me, Robert, if you can put me down 2:30. I can't see because I'm driving, but
Albert's at 2:30. Great. Nancy Dupre, are you still at 2 o'clock? Let's pray that she is. All right. Any other times? 1:30, 3, 3:30. Come on. Come on. Somebody, anybody?
3 for me, 3 for Valerie.
Woo! All right. All right. Come on. Come on. At least give me 3:30. Somebody at least give me 3:30, and then I'll stop. I'll let you get lunch at 1:30. Somebody give me 3:30. Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's just get this over with. Somebody do it.
I'll do 3:30.
Oh, thank God for good to go, Yvonne. I'm getting hungry over here. All right, so we got a break at 1:30, 2 o'clock. Nancy's on, 2:30 Albert, 3 o'clock Valerie, 3:30 Yvonne. If anyone wants to do 4, you're more than welcome to, but I'll leave you alone for the time being. All right, everybody, good stuff. Keep up the great work. Let's have a great rest of the day.